What's up, guys? Welcome back. In today's video, we're going to go ahead and check out how I mix my background vocals. If you ever had any issues with figuring out how to make your background vocals sit better in the mix, stick around because I'm going to show you how I process my vocals. So a bit of a backstory here. Background vocals used to really trip me up. I never really knew what to do with them. They were kind of a mystery to me. I didn't really know whether I should process them as the main vocal or whether I should process them completely different, have a unique different tone. And then again, I learned all of my stuff from Jordan Valeriat. And so when I took his mixing course, he processed them as a way to just emphasize certain words and to add a blanket of width and depth and richness to the main vocal. So they weren't really so much the center point or the focal point. They were being added as a supplement to the main vocal, just adding depth and richness. So jumping right into it, let me just show you my mixing chain for my background vocals here. So I have an instance of RVox because I don't think compression was used with these vocals on the way in. They look pretty dynamic to me. So I wanted to level them out before I started adding any additional processing. So I'm adding some compression on the front end. And then from there, I am using my SSL channel EQ. I'm cutting out everything below 150 Hertz. That is so that it doesn't conflict with any low end on the sides from the guitars or any cymbals from the overheads. And then I'm cutting out anything above 8K. And then I am boosting some 8K, 7.5K, excuse me, about 8 dB. That is a similar air effect that I would do to my main vocal. So I boost tons of 8K on my main vocal. And the reason for that is because it adds a bunch of air. And I want that same air to be added to my side screams so that when they come in, I'm adding a blanket of air around the main vocal. Typically, I don't boost mids. On occasion, though, there has been instances where that has come up and I had to boost like 4.5K. And then sometimes if they're a little murky or milky, I cut out a bit of those cardboard kind of telephonics frequencies anywhere between 700 to 1K. And I kind of dip those out. But this is a very common move for me here, which is an additional low shelf cut at 150 Hertz, which about a dB is usually what I do, sometimes 3 at the most. And this is just to control the low end even more. I really don't want that low end on my sides. I'm only reserving that for my guitars and maybe something else that like could be a synthesizer or something like that. Now, I am using a fairly fast attack because, again, I'm trying to squash those transients. I don't want those transients to be coming up on the sides. That is only reserved for things up the middle, like snares, kick, and in this case, my vocals as well. I am using a fast release. This is just so I can emphasize more of the sustain. And I am using a 6:1 ratio, so it's pretty aggressive. And if I'm not mistaken, I am compressing anywhere between 3 to 6 dB. Now, keep in mind that with this plugin here, I am reducing it even further by an additional 10 dB. So there's quite a bit of gain reduction going for a total of about 16 dB of gain reduction. And then finally, I'm following that up with a limiter just to shave off even any more peaks, any errant peaks that anything that may have gone through or past the compressor that I don't want triggering any compression down the chain like on my master bus. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn off my mixing chain here and solo the side screams, and let's listen to them completely dry without any mixing. And then I'm gonna pop in my mixing chain and then we'll go ahead and hear how that is working. As you drift off and fall away. So pretty dynamic. Now I'm going to pop in the RVox here. I'm going to turn that on. Now hear how that evens out a bunch of stuff. Now as the trees bend and sway, as you drift off and fall away, but don't you feel my angel wing? All right, so that was without any EQ. Let me go ahead and pop in the EQ now and take a listen. Until morning light. So tons of high end being added and a lot of bass being cut out. Again, it's not something that I want on my vocals. And this is just a de-esser just to control any of like the weird stuff that may be added with the high end boosts that we got, because they're pretty substantial. So you want to kind of reduce those a little bit. Now as the trees bend and sway. So kind of when he says those kind of T's, that's really what I want to control there. As you drift off and fall away. All right, and then from there, we got our limiter. And again, I am just setting it so that it's acting only on the offending peaks. So really anything else that was not being able to be caught by the compressor. As you drift off and fall away, now as the trees bend and sway. So just adding that final layer of control. I really want these to be pinned in place. I don't want them to move because I want the main vocal to be the preeminent focal point for the listener. And so these again are just more of an auxiliary to support the main vocal, not the focal point. So now I'm going to show you guys the full context of the mix here. I'm going to have a bit of a lead up. So pay attention to these areas here, 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 and here, as well as here. Those are the areas where the vocals are going to have the side screams jump in, and just listen to how that kind of hugs the main vocal and gives it this sense of depth and richness and this blanket of air. Again, they're not going to be something that jumps out to you immediately. The main vocal is just going to sound like it's just bigger, and that's the main goal here. So let's go ahead and play that.
It's only us until
And that's pretty much it. That's how I would process my background vocals. And in fact, a lot of the times, that's 99% of the time how I would process my vocals. Again, they are just here to be a supplement to the main vocal. You don't want them to be super loud and super in your face. You want them to just, when they pop in, make it seem like the main vocal is just getting that a little bit bigger and a little bit wider. And that's pretty much it, and you're ready to go. I love dealing with background vocals like this. I would even deal with cleans in the same manner as well. Just screams are a little bit easier to deal with than clean vocals in my opinion. So if you found this video helpful, give me a like, comment, and subscribe. I would appreciate it very much, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.